right before the 4th of July, on Thursday, July 25th, the Supreme Court came down with a ruling on Obamacare, and their ruling was, well, the bill didn't have the language in it that they thought should have been in it, and so John Roberts, the Chief Justice, and others decided we can write words into law from the Supreme Court level. Never before had there been such a blatant takeover of Article 1, the authority to legislate, which is vested in Congress. That was Thursday. We're reeling from that blow. How do we put our power back together? The next day, 24 hours later, we got the decision, and that's the 26th of July, Friday morning, a little after 10 o'clock, we got the decision that the Supreme Court had ruled that there's a right in the Constitution, in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, ratified in 1868, written in it under the Equal Protection Clause and the Due Process Clauses of that amendment, a constitutional right to same-sex marriage, manufactured by the courts. Now, to think that that's the worst 24 hours the Supreme Court has ever had. And I don't know why they'd have the level of arrogance to believe that they can simply amend the Constitution on a Friday after they got up that morning and had a cup of coffee and celebrated rewriting Obamacare the day before. That's not their job. And what troubles me is the lack of real action on the part of many of the American people. Not you, not us. We're here, we're active. But there needed to be American people rising up saying, I've had it, I'm not taking that decision. Look at their big decisions in the past. 1857, when you had the Dred Scott decision that said blacks can't be citizens, and they will be slaves. If they ever were slaves, they'll stay slaves. No state can free them. That was the Dred Scott decision. 600,000 people died in the aftermath of that decision to end that issue of slavery. 100 years later, you had Murray versus Curlett. They took prayer out of the public schools. And we respected that decision of the Supreme Court. I thought then, how are they going to stop us? I always want to know the consequence. What would they have done? Well, they would have had to empty the schools and post guards to keep us from praying in our public schools, and still we capitulated to that outrageous decision that wasn't based on Constitution. Then, 10 years later, came Roe versus Wade and Doe versus Bolton, and we're closing in on 60 million babies that have been aborted because of the decision of the Supreme Court.